While WCW was known for pushing the boundaries of where a wrestling match should take place, the WWF was a little more traditional. There really weren't a whole lot of events held outside of your standard arena or stadium, but on July 4th, 1993, the World Wrestling Federation took to the USS Intrepid, a decommissioned aircraft carrier, for the Yokozuna Body Slam Challenge. Now, this wasn't a full-blown wrestling show, but it was still awesome to see a wrestling ring set up on an aircraft carrier. WWF Shotgun Saturday Night was a show where wrestlers would battle it out in different locations all around New York City. The show premiered in 1997 and was much more edgy than any other show that the company was producing at the time. Matches would take place anywhere from nightclubs to subway stations. Was it weird and out of place for the WWF? Yeah, probably, but damn, I just loved this show. I wish they would bring this concept back. Come on, Vince. Do it.
Do it.
Tribute to the troops. Where do I really start with this one? WWE wrestlers would fly over to the Middle East to entertain our hardworking military guys and gals with live WWE wrestling for the holidays. It was definitely one of those shows that just made you feel good, and to top it off, it had a really cool look to it. These days, the show looks just like any other episode of Raw or SmackDown, but back in the first few years, you just knew you were watching something unique and special. In the early 90s, the WWF used a generic entrance set for most of their shows. You know the one I'm talking about. It had the neon lights all over it, and a black curtain in the middle of it, and that was it. Bigger pay-per-views like WrestleMania would get unique entrance props, but for the most part, these stages remained pretty simple during this time. To compete with WCW, the WWF decided to amp up their pay-per-views to 12 a year, and these new pay-per-views that took place between the already established shows were called WWF In Your House. The stage was designed to look like a house, with the wrestlers coming out of a black curtain where the garage would be. This set was really cheesy looking, but it was a step in the right direction, and I liked it. In 1997, Monday Night Raw received a stage makeover, and the WWF introduced the Titantron. Sure, we'd seen screens on stages before, but nothing like this. This thing was absolutely massive, and where WCW usually just played short, repetitive clips on their screens during entrances, the WWF took it a step further and produced high-quality montages that synced with the wrestler's entrance music, creating an incredible story for each wrestler that walked through that curtain. This also led to pay-per-view stage designs becoming more elaborate as well. Before we knew it, every single monthly show had its own unique look, and us fans ate this stuff up. I remember tuning into Sunday Night Heat every time it was a pay-per-view night just to get a sneak peek of what the stage designs looked like. By the late 90s and into the early 2000s, these stage designs just kept getting bigger and better. Over on SmackDown, they went from the Ovaltron to the famous Fist stage, which is still one of my favorites to this day. They also became much more elaborate and more a part of the show. And I mean literally a part of the show. We've seen wrestlers jump off the Titantron, get thrown through the set. We've even seen wrestlers destroy the set. And we've seen the set destroy itself. Or something. These stages became one with the product, and just when we thought it wouldn't end, it did. These days, the WWE uses a generic stage design for every single show that isn't called WrestleMania, and while I understand it's probably to cut unnecessary cost, it definitely takes away from the experience in my opinion. I don't need a wall of LED screens, just give me a Titantron and some cool set designs. As always, I'm glad you guys could join me, and I thank you again for watching.